The days may be getting cooler, but your warm season lawn, your Bermuda grass, is probably still looking pretty good if you've been taking care of it. It's got a nice green color. However, as soon as that first fall frost comes, the leaves are going to turn brown. You're going to have a fully brown, dormant, kind of blah-looking Bermuda grass lawn. There is a way that you can get green lawn color all the way through the year by overseeding your Bermuda grass lawn. What this is you plant a cool season grass over your Bermuda grass so that as the Bermuda dies out or dies back and goes dormant, then the cool season grass comes in and starts looking green. So you have a cool season lawn where your Bermuda grass once was. So you can get color from the summer from your Bermuda grass lawn and color in the fall and winter and early spring months from your cool season lawn. Now, you can't just do this with any of the cool season grasses. Your tall fescue is too persistent. It will tolerate some of the summer heat and won't die out. So if you use a tall fescue, then you'll end up with a mixed and blotchy looking lawn because you'll have both the Bermuda grass and the tall fescue trying to grow at the same time. Kentucky bluegrass won't compete with the Bermuda grass, but it takes quite a long time for it to germinate and get established. You want something that will germinate quickly and get established quickly and give you the color quickly. The two cool season grasses that fill that bill are your annual ryegrass and perennial ryegrass. Annual ryegrass is relatively easily available. It's cheap. Its main disadvantage is that it's not as deep a green color. It's kind of an apple green, but it is the quickest germinating and quickest overseeding grass, cool season grass to use. Perennial ryegrass takes just a little bit longer to germinate and establish, but still not that long, but it's a much nicer, deeper green color. So perennial ryegrass is usually the one that's recommended for a good quality lawn. You can use just standard perennial ryegrass, but there are several named and improved perennial ryegrass cultivars. These are probably preferred because they have a much finer textured leaf, and so that they give a nicer looking lawn. They are much more expensive than just your standard perennial ryegrass seed, but especially on a small area, the better quality turf will more than make up for the little bit of added expense of getting these named perennial ryegrass cultivars. Now, when do you do this? The best time to do it from the Bermuda grass's standpoint would be to wait until it has gone dormant. That way you're not interfering with it at all. But by that time it's too cool to really get your cool season lawn established. So you need to get it done by at least the end of October. Now, a better time to do it is back in September, because as we'll see in this next step, what you need to do is get rid of almost all of that Bermuda grass top. Just cut it way back. We've prepared our area already. That first step is already done. We've gone over it with the lawnmower once, raked away all the trash, then come back again with a second mowing at the lowest setting, which is just about 1 inch tall. This does two things. It opens up the ground so that you can get the seed right down to the soil surface, and it also opens it up so that you can get light down into the ground level so that the young cool season grass seedlings can establish and grow. Now you'll notice that this has really been scalped. It's not really doing your Bermuda grass any good. If you have a healthy Bermuda grass lawn, it won't harm it to any great degree. Now if you do this in October, it's not as good as doing it in September from the Bermuda grass standpoint. If you do it in mid-September, the Bermuda has time to regrow and get a little bit of growth and a little bit more energy into its roots to get itself into winter. But again, if you have a healthy Bermuda grass stand, anytime in October, it will survive quite well. Now, if you want to just use your lawnmower like we did to get this first step done, you can. If you have a large buildup of thatch, You may want to go to a power rake. It's also known as a dethatcher. It's also known as a vertical mower. You can get these at equipment rental places. It has a reel of blades, and what it does as it rotates, it will tear up all the top growth, tear up and pull up any thatch, and it will put little grooves in the soil. So it actually does a little bit more thorough job than the lawnmower, but the lawnmower still does an adequate job. Usually, lawn clippings you can put into the compost pile. However, the clippings that you're getting from scalping it this close, you may not want to put in the compost pile because you'll be getting lots of stems from the Bermuda grass also. Unless you have a very hot compost pile, those won't be killed. When the compost later goes in the garden, you could be creating quite a bit of a weed problem. Now, our two cool season grasses that we use for overseeding are your annual ryegrass and perennial ryegrass. Annual ryegrass, you'll need 10 pounds of seed for every 1,000 square feet. Perennial ryegrass, which is what we're using, you'll need between 5 pounds to 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. The 5-pound rate is basically a minimal rate. 7 to 8 pounds is about ideal. The 10-pound rate is kind of an insurance rate. That way you know if there's a section that the germination rate isn't very good, it will still have adequate coverage. The best way to make certain the proper amount of seed goes on is to measure out the area that you're going to be seeding, weigh out the amount of seed that you'll need for that area. That way you know once you're finished putting on that much seed, you've got it on at the proper rate. It's a good idea to divide your seed into 2 equal lots and set the calibration on your spreader relatively low so that you'll need to make 2 or 3 passes to get all the seed on. This way, it's more of a guarantee that you'll get it spread evenly, and it ensures that you don't get 2/3 of the way over your area to find out that you've run out of seed. It doesn't hurt to go over it several times. As a matter of fact, if you cross directions, go north-south the first pass, east-west the second, it helps ensure that there are no skips. After the seed has been spread, you need to go along with a rake and rake the area over thoroughly. This will do 2 things, one of which it gets any seed that may be lodged up on the leaves or on the stems, gets that rustled down through the stems so that it makes good ground contact. Also, it will take and scrape some of the seeds, push them down into the soil. Again, better soil contact, better chance of germination. After the area has been raked, come along with a roller and press the seed in. Now these rollers are available from most rental places. You'll need to fill them with water to provide the weight to press the seed into the soil. Be a little careful about how much water you put in. You need enough weight to press the seed in, but don't put in so much water that you can't handle the roller, especially if you're trying to work on a sloped site. It can get away from you fairly easily. Mike Kenna, our turf grass specialist, told me a story that demonstrates the importance of this rolling step. There was a baseball field that was being overseeded with cool season grass, and after the seed had been spread, a few of the vehicles had driven across the field. Later, you could follow the tracks of the vehicles very easily because where they had driven, there was better germination, a better stand, and you could see exactly where those vehicles had gone. So this rolling step is not one to be overlooked. After you've applied the seed, rolled it in, applied any fertilizer that you need, you'll need to water, keep that top layer of soil moist until those seedlings germinate and are established. That'll mean at least 1 watering a day. Depending upon how dry and how hot it is, you may need more than 1 watering per day in order to keep that topsoil moist. If it dries out, the seedlings will start to germinate and then die, and you won't get a good stand. Incidentally, also, if you've put on a pre-emergence herbicide after July 1st on your Bermuda, chances are you won't get a good stand because that will prevent the seeds from germinating. It'll treat them just as they would weed seeds. So if you've put on that pre-emergence, you probably won't have success overseeding your lawn. Now, a couple other pointers about overseeding. Start mowing the cool season lawn when it gets about 2.5 inches tall. Also, if you're planning on putting on a 2,4-D application in the fall to control your broadleaf weeds, you'll need to wait 4 to 6 weeks after you've seeded the cool season lawn before you put that on. The 2,4-D can damage those young grass seedlings, so wait until it's established before putting that on. Now don't worry come spring about the ryegrass competing with the Bermuda. Ryegrass doesn't compete well in hot weather when Bermuda is really coming on strong. So you'll have a mixed turf through the springtime, but you won't really notice much of the transition. By the time you get to the end of June, you'll be back to a full Bermuda grass lawn. So by overseeding, you can have a green lawn all the way through the summer, through the fall, through the winter and spring, year round.